Bonjour les gens du fromage, je m'appelle Raven, c'est une review des fromages. Hello cheese people, my name is Raven and this is Cheese Review. So before we get into today's cheese, I need to show off my mug. This mug is a traditional café au lait bowl from France, gifted to me by my lovely boss Michael on one of his more recent trips to France, and I love it. It's getting me in the Frenchy mood. Today's cheese is, before we get into that, that's better. Delice De Bourgogne is the cheese of the day, and if that pronunciation scares you, fear not, Delice is fine. Let's get into the cheese stats of Delice De Bourgogne. This is a triple cream brie style from Burgundy, France. It is about 75% butterfat content. That comes from adding creme fraiche into whole milk before the cheese making process to make it a lot more creamy. This is made with pasteurized cow's milk. It has to be pasteurized because the age is under 60 days. And when it is imported from France into the US, by law, it has to be pasteurized. Now it's time to cut the cheese. So let's get into cutting this bad boy. You could, in fact, use an aerated knife so that the cheese does not get gummed up on the inside of the knife. However, for the purpose of a clean cut, a cheese wire is best. So here is our cut pieces of Delice de Bourgogne. I messed it up. It's fine. We're not going to talk about it. We're all human. So before we get into tasting, I want to talk a little bit about Delice de Bourgogne. So as you can see, the outside is covered in this kind of white, bloomy, puffy mold. This is actually because it is populated by Penicillium candidum mold, which gives it kind of this nice texture on the outside. And you can see if I put my finger here, it'll actually leave an indent, but it also gives the flavor as well. The cheese ripens from the outside in, so you can see that there's this distinct cream line around the outside, and you're actually going to get different flavors as you taste from the outside inwards. And now for the best part, the tasting. So right off the bat, I think I'm going to do smell test first, which might sound weird. So right away I can sense that there's this nice mushroomy, umami aroma with, let's say, hints of sweet cream and almost like a nice, almost a soily undertone, which might sound bad, but it does adds a certain je ne sais quoi to the cheese, if I will. So, comparative to other bries, this is a triple cream brie, so it's higher in butterfat content, as we said before. That contributes to not only the texture, but the flavor as well. It's richer and it's a lot softer. And now I get to taste it, my favorite part. So, I have a little taster spoon, and I'm going to first start around the cream line because that's going to be different from the center. Oh my god, this cheese, I could eat a pound of this. Probably not, but maybe yes. We won't talk about that. The overall flavor of this cheese, as it sits in your mouth, immediately it coats the inside. It's super, super creamy and rich. It is quite salty, and as it matures or gets more and more ripe, it will get saltier. Along the cream line, that's just that creme fraiche flavor. It's fresh, it's tangy, and as it kind of sits in your palate longer, it ends a little bit on an acidic note. So now I'm going to taste the inside of the cheese. We tasted the cream line before. So we're going to go right down the center here. And you can see the texture is completely different than the outside. Much fluffier, much more buttery flavor. Like the inside really does taste like just a cold stick of butter that you shaved off and ate. And there's really nothing not to like about that. So the last thing that needs to be said about this amazing cheese is if you're thinking that it's going to be like a typical brie, it's not. It is a lot richer in flavor, and again, a lot more of that umami mushroomy flavor as well. And texturally, it's different. It's not quite that same gooey butteriness that like a fromage dauphinois might have. It's gonna be more dense. And as it matures and gets older, or riper as we say, it's going to get a lot more gooey and buttery, but not quite the same texture as a typical brie. Let's get into pairing, specifically wine pairing. So this cheese would typically pair with a high acidity white wine like a Sauvignon Blanc, but in discussing with my local sommelier, my boss, we both agree that the strength of the cheese can actually hold up to a medium bodied red wine, a Bordeaux, a Spanish Rioja, or even a Chianti. This cheese pairs fabulously with fig jam, if you can believe it, as does everything. My opinion would be a nice thin water cracker, slice of Delice, slice of strawberry, little drizzle of honey on there. That's really as good as it gets. You could even spread this on a nice crusty baguette and just slip delightfully into a food coma. So, closing thoughts on Delice. If you're used to a traditional brie, hold on to your baguette because this is gonna blow your socks off. It's rich, it's buttery. It is like the gold of cheese. Cheese gold, gold cheese. Cheese gold, yeah. So if you're a brie lover, or even if you're not a brie lover, go out there and try some brie today. Try something triple cream. I hope everybody has a beautiful day. Okay, love you, bye!